I've been here longer than you can imagine, and you won't believe half the things I've seen. Fire and flood and war won't dent my tin and timber, and the march of time won't dim my memories.
It's always a trick in a town how to get the hall open. Sometimes it's like just under a rock. Sometimes it's like at the fish and chip shop, but the fish and chip shop shut 7 years ago. Sometimes it's with the hall president, because they're the only ones allowed to have it, but Brenda's on holidays in Noosa. Sometimes I just leave it open. Here, bloke is not even on the hall committee. He's apparently got the key. And he's not answering his text, so see how we go. Well, hello, people of Cavendish. Thanks for coming. So, what I try and do in this night is I'm like the story harvester, if you like, panning for gold. It's more about your personal memories of being all, your parents' memories, legends, things that you've heard in the past. So the show is a combination of my hall stories and accumulation of the minutiae of hall life from all over Australia. Every hall has a different story. So there's kind of generic parts where I tell my story. It's a very visual show. I use a lot of photos and Photoshop and visual representation of my time in your community, but also in other places. But there's a second component to this project is I produce a podcast, which will tell the oral history of the Cavendish Hall, and that is completely tailored. That's only your story. And to do that, I need to capture your community telling stories. So that's largely what tonight's about.
My earliest memory of the hall was watching all the people dancing. My grandparents were great dancers. Dances were always something where everybody sort of came to, whereas nowadays, you don't meet all the people around the district. But it's probably one of the things that the town misses out on, or probably the whole country in some ways.
An interesting fact, prior to 1988, there was not one single bicentennial barbecue shelter in Australia. But now, they're all over the place. Here he is. Hi, Rog. Yeah, good.
Oh, footy injury, the old ankle.
I discovered this last night. Matt had his ball. There's quite a bit to unpack here. Prize for bell of the ball, as well as, this is the best bit, make a hat, wear a hat, win a prize. Marvellous prizes for the tallest hat, the smallest hat, the widest hat, and the most original hat. But most importantly, excellent floor. Everyone's been telling me at Cavendish that they have the best dance floor in the district.
I was a Saturday night dancer here. We used to get out the front and the dance floor was absolutely immaculate. It was the slipperiest thing in the world. They used to actually go around with a sharp knife and candles, and as rotten little kids, we used to get right out the front, kick our shoes off and run flat out through the front door and see how far we could get before somebody severely chastised us in the way things were done in the late 50s, which was always good fun.
We're just getting directions how to get to our accommodation here on this state-of-the-art map. No GPS here in Cavendish.
So you'll get back over the bridge?
This is actually genuinely helpful. Over the bridge, yep.
Yeah, turn right at the pub.
Yep.
And then left when you get to the shop.
Okay.
And then you're in Lockhart.
The shop, good. The shop. Okay.
Good day. Yes, thanks.
250, 295. Andy,
park the trailer behind the hall and then start up the motor. And the films would start, and we didn't always get through because sometimes the generator would break down and there'd be a torch would come on and there'd be fumbling and a bit of swearing. Eventually get it started again. But I recall that it was pretty hard to get heavily involved in anything that was romantic with the noise out the background.
You must have been adults before you finally saw a film in its entirety.
I was thinking about this last night. But I do remember that Cavendish had one little ditty. How are you, Bertie Walker? How are you? How are you, Bertie Walker? How are you? If you're feeling kind of flat, try a glass of Ballarat. How are you, Bertie Walker? How are you? Bertie Walker was the publican.
Oh, that's fantastic. I believe on one occasion the costumes might have created some skin irritation.
They're itchy costumes, but it looked the part, but yes, not very comfortable.
I've done 3 shows here. The first time I think it was in 2011, and I went for a wander, first time I'd been here, and I found myself here at the Pioneer Cemetery. And when I got here, there was the biggest ewe I've ever seen, just kind of stuck inside the fence of one of these. And it was quite distressed, and it didn't seem to know how it got in there. It certainly had no idea how it was going to get out. So I went in with the ewe and wrestled it, and I wasn't happy about being wrestled. And I eventually got it up and out of the fence, but as a result I ended up covered in sheepdag. I'm a good citizen, but I had to change my clothes before the gig. Less than a year ago, I would never, ever tour without a check. Since I've been self-producing, crunching the numbers, I've been touring without a check. There'll be people here to help tonight. Part of the aims of this show was for it to be like the old style troubadour shows where you just travel around, pack the show into your car and move on to the next town. But this is the reality of it. Hello, Cavendish. Now, they're doing something in the Glen Innes Shire that maybe Southern Grampians can think about. Infrastructural rationalisation. They're probably taking it too far, but like you'd... I mean, ordinarily you'd keep those separate, I think. Not in deep water, though. It's important when we're travelling around that security is good because, there's some expensive kit, we want to make sure that the hall's secure. Not here. Not in Parramatta. And of course, I've got some connections to the community that most people don't acknowledge. I went to school here. That's me. Cavendish Primary School, 1920. It's quite the collar, isn't it? I still occasionally get that out. The old boat boy, they used to call me, Cavendish. And I played footy here too. That's been the premiership side. 52, is that the 52 premiership? I played in so many, it's hard to remember.
the talking pictures here, and he used to go to all the towns around Balmoral and work, and he gave us a great service. But before that, of course, we had the silent pictures here, and I don't really remember that. It'd be back before the war, and my father used to, and his sister used to supply the music, and
That's right, because my father used to as well.
how do you know he was yours?
The Cavendish Hall quiz. So, could we get 2 volunteers? In this 1936 letter from the Cavendish Progress Association, what hall use right was granted to Mrs. Ryan? Was it A, the right to conduct life modelling classes? Was it B, the right to bear arms at an extraordinary meeting of the CWA? Was it C, the right for women to wear trousers whilst playing badminton? Was it D, the right to sell sweets? Okay.
Women to wear trousers playing badminton.
That's a very good answer, but it's the wrong answer. Leonie, you get another go.
Life modelling.
Sorry, life modelling is incorrect, Frank. See how you go. See how you go.
Selling sweets.
Selling sweets is correct. Thank you very much.